My story tonight was triggered by the airline story of the three ladies in the leggings. Now, I'm sure that's not the story about an airline that's been on your mind lately. Evidently, the story that's been on your mind is probably where they snatched a 70-year-old man out of his seat, threw him to the floor, dragged him off the plane. Evidently, that's okay, but wearing leggings, not so much. But anyway, that triggered my story about back in high school when I would protest against things and dress code. Believe it or not, at my age, I'm older probably than most of you here, we had a dress code. And I didn't like that, so I protested against that. I protested against the war. I protested against racial inequality and women's rights and things of that nature. But dress code was one of them. We had to wear skirts and dresses, and they had to be a certain length, and so we protested that. Of all the things that I protested about, I didn't think that the dress code was going to be the thing that was eliminated. But 2 years, this was the early 70s. 2 years later, I went back to my school to substitute teach. Dress code gone, boom, just like that. I saw tube tops, I saw coveralls and hot pants. You know, it was gone, everything was gone. So, you know, just like that. We protested, then all of a sudden it was out the window. Okay, I wasn't really that happy about it. You know, the war was still going on, women's rights had not come to what I thought was the correct thing, but there was no dress code. I wished for it, but, you know. Okay, it's 1978, I'm getting married for the first time, and my aunt and my mother stopped by the house before the wedding, and I say to my aunt, well, are you changing here, or are you going back to the hotel? Well, she was kind of good-natured about it, she laughed, and she said, this is what I'm wearing to the wedding. Oh, well, I didn't really think it was appropriate to wear the wedding, maybe more to a tennis match or to the mall. But she was good-natured and she wore it to the wedding, and I let it go. So now we're into the 80s. Now some of you here might have had these. I know I had one. My husband had one. They were those nice, shiny tracksuits. And they came in those wonderful colors, magenta and purple and aqua, and they had big stripes on it. And everyone wore them, and they wore them all the time into inappropriate places. And they had these big, hulking, white running shoes that they wore with them, even if they'd never even run across the street. And they wore them everywhere. And I was really knew that we were doomed when I went to a wedding in New Jersey, different aunt, but still in New Jersey, and in front of me were 5 Italian ladies all dressed in these shiny tracksuits going to pay their respects. These were Italian aunts who 5 years before that would not have entered the Catholic Church without a head covering and white gloves on, and now they're going to a funeral in shiny tracksuits. So, you know, again, I wished for this, and this is what it was coming to. So now we're into the 90s. And, well, one thing about the 80s, I did think for a moment that things were picking up at work, but it was just the shoulder pads. That was really what was picking up. So we're into the 90s, and I'm sitting in the Kennedy Center, and next to me is a guy in cargo shorts, wool socks, and Birkenstocks. You know, it's come to that. So by 2000s, pajama pants are. But it's my fault because I wished for it. So here we are, 2000. Pajama pants are a fashion statement. We're well into the 2000s now. And women are making 20% less than men. Worldwide, it's about 46%. But go ahead. You know, go to your cousin's funeral with your baseball cap on backwards because there's no dress code.